This is Kal Kat, the Kal Kat, and you're watching Discovery Binge Watch. And this was The Wolf Inside. It's basically, yeah, it's basically in the mirror silly. Pretty much. And a number of other silly stories from back in the day. It was directed by T.J. Scott. This episode yeah, okay, so basically they're stuck in the mirror universe still, and Tyler's kind of wigging out still. They have to go on a mission to a planet. They're ordered by the Empire to go to this Andorian planet where there's like where there's rebels, Andorian rebels and Klingon rebels. Turns out one of the rebels is well, it's sort of silly track, but it's not really. It is in the sense that the evil ones are running around doing evil things and meet their doppelgangers. Other than that, it's not. Um, so we have Tyler meeting Vok. They meet each other, and in this other universe, he's still a Klingon, and he meets him, and he's wigging out and stuff. And although oddly enough, before the episode, we have a very, very long pre-credit sequence that goes on forever, dealing with that, and apparently, yeah, Burnham and Michael Burnham, and her name is Michael. Michael Burnham is the commander, and Tyler are going at it and stuff. So there's this backstory and a long monologue. I don't know why that's there. And we have this sort of, yeah. Then they go to the Andorian planet, and she decides she meets up with a version of Sarek who gives her a mind meld of her, but not of Tyler. She gave a mind meld of Tyler, you would immediately know. Determines that she's a good, which throws him off because he figures, well, she's got to be from another universe. Kind of like Spock in the classic episode Mirror Mirror. Um, yeah, so, and he's got a beard because they all have beards there. That was a nice touch. The yeah, and then Tyler freaks out with seeing his doppelganger, Klingon double, and he fights him, and she stops it, and then we have them leaving the Andorian mess thing. Of course, that's going to get back to the Empire later. Then we go back to the ship where the B story where they're trying to revive Stamets, who is dying. And we have Tilly trying to revive him with the mycelium network and lots of technobabble, trying to bring him back. And yeah, so they're trying to do that. And meanwhile, Saru has more to do in this one. Funny alien dude that sees death. Yeah. There's also one scene where Burnham's character as a bad guy is using the Shinzao to execute prisoners. So she's being evil, and her third officer is being evil. And and apparently that's okay. So she's basically insane. Well, the third officer is. Later on, the Tyler character is brought back to the ship, and he freaks out, and he basically admits that he's the Klingon guy. Of course, she should have known this, like, way back. If they were intimate with each other, as they indicated in the story, wouldn't her, like, Vulcan mind touch technique thing have detected anything? I'm not buying the idea that, like, oh, he's just the hard-ass, like, prisoner guy, and he's got mental blocks that are breaking, and that are barriers, and you can't tell. It's like, no, she should be able to tell. Even without psychic powers. He's not go for him in the story. So, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. So, yeah, that's a little off. But if it was a parody, it would be fine because you could just say, "Oh, she's like a version of the evil, the Lipian, the Elysian, and she's just like that. That's just the way she is because she's evil." Okay, she's an evil clone, and she's on a ship, and she's in command, so she goes nuts, and can't tell that the other guy's nuts, because in this universe, everybody's nuts, so maybe she can't tell. But they didn't say that, so they're trying to revive Stamets, and he dies, or sort of dies, but he's in stasis in the chamber, the mycelium chamber, the Cillian chamber, And then they're trying. Yeah, I know it's a different thing and it's a different word. It's spelled differently, but it sounds the same. Cillian is with an S in Silly Track, but with a C in this one. The idea that the spores are life and death connected. Ooh, and Saru's, and she wants, and yeah, Tilly wants to join the command program or something. But isn't she already in Starfleet? Yeah. So anyway, so yeah. Tyler attacks Burnham and admits that he's a half Klingon and weird like Klingon statement thing. Fortunately, the crazy first officer lady barges in and stops it, and Burnham goes full crazy cray chick and says, "Yeah, execute him." Like they take him out to the transporter beam and beam him out in space like we did the other ones. So they execute him. So she beams him out into space. She's like, after he shouts Klingon stuff at her about the light of Kalas. And Discovery rescues him from space, being frozen for a few seconds, which is possible. But then Saru puts him in the prison. Meanwhile, she's back with the captain who's on the ship, Lorca, who's on the Discovery, not the Discovery, the Shinzao. And then along comes, and they talk about it, even though they should have known. The only thing that makes sense is that they do mention faked records, and they do mention that apparently when Tyler left after killing the doctor, he forged the doctor getting killed to make it look like the other guy did it, but that's not possible, really. You would think they would check the cameras, on the ship, because they got cameras, But they didn't. So, yeah, they know he didn't. Stamets didn't do it. He wasn't in condition to do it. But, yeah, so they figure it out, even though they should have known, because he's obviously a Manchurian candidate. They even mention the Manchurian thing in the other episode, which is silly, because that's a book. You can brainwash somebody, but the way they did it, it's not really logical. So yeah, find out in the Marshall Sportiest how they do that. Yes. Yeah, there's quite a lot of that now. But that's one of the Cillian stories. But yeah, so here, that's nothing to do with this. Discovery, pulls him out of deep space and throws him in the brig. Well, they're in that mirror universe. Why don't they just say, "Oh, gee, he died"? But no, they don't. They put him in the brig so he can escape later because he's on contract. Anyway, so sure, it was fine. It's just the reveal to this episode is like, okay, we know where this is going. We've known where this is going for 5 episodes. When we get there, we're like, oh, okay, it's all the same beats. Kind of the problem with the Abrams Star Trek movies and the Abrams other Mission Impossible ones too. It's like there's no surprise because you pretty much like telegraphed all the spies in your story. Like even put badges on the Section 31 people, and then put Mirror Universe uniforms on the people in this one and the other one. It's like, how does he know that stuff? Obviously, he's in on it somehow. Like the captain is from the Mirror Universe. Obviously, she didn't check. Like, come on, it's just really obvious. The end of the episode, the Andorian planet. I think it's supposed to be I don't think it's Andor. I think it's a rebel planet. It just happens to be cold. Gets attacked by an unknown ship that decloaks, only to discover that it's the Imperial ship, which has a small star in it. Like the Romulans had a singularity, they have a star, and so it's like a star cracker, literally. Yes, but in star crackers, the engine is a neutron star exotic material in the core. It's a little different, but yeah, the bad guy ship is like that. It forms a sphere in the Red Angel system. Yes. So they've watched star crackers over there at Discovery, but that's later. But anyway, this episode has a star cracker, literally a ship with a star inside it. So yes, that's that they they clearly like our fan film. That's nice. Um, so yeah, except they got it wrong because the star is supposed to be like a shield. It's not really a star. It's just behaving like one. Yeah, to power the sphere. Yeah, it's a quantum singularity, like mini Dyson swarm is kind of what it is. Didn't explain it like that, but that's kind of what it is. But with energy. It holds a ship in it, and then it changes the gravity so it can go light speed, or faster than light, way faster than light. Assuming the Emperor ship has that in this universe, which would make it like way more advanced than TNG even. They have a small mini sun they carry around. Also, they must have seen the Star Wars the 2015 movie, and they like that idea. The Star Killer ship, literally. Yeah, it's very reminiscent of, yes, expanded universe Star Wars. It's not Star Trek though. And the episode where the expanded universe comic book and book story where they had the sundowner thing, that was a device that had 3 prongs and it had a star behind it. It's not the Star Killer. It's the sun blade, dowage thing, used in Star Wars. One of the Empire, I believe the Timothy Zahn books had that. The Empire built a sun blaster, basically, similar to this Star. Yeah, so that's what this ship is. So you can blast planets with it. Yeah, so same thing. So they probably borrowed it more from Star Wars Episode 7 than borrowing it from the expanded universe, but not knowing that Abrams had borrowed it from expanded universe and made the Star Killer base. But this is what the ship version would be like, and that's kind of what the Sundowner thing is, or the Sundower, or the Sun weapon. There was also one similar to it in the Alistair Reynolds books of Revelation Space, Blast the Planet. There's also one, I think there's one in Distant Destinies as well, the Canary thing. I think there's something similar in that. Also, there's something similar in Halo. The Halo does that. The Blast the Planet. And the Death Star, of course. Yeah, from the classic Star Wars. So, yeah, not a bad episode. Sure. But it ends with the reveal of the Empress, who is actually Giorgio, who has, in this universe, she's alive, and it's very campy at the end. Yes, so she does beg the question in the mirror universe: how can they do that? How can they just happen to be the cast from the show that's there? You would think they would all kill each other long before the universe ever came, to be. They would be a different timeline, would converge massively. Oh well. Anyways,